So we've talked a lot about the Corvette-sized ships, which generally represent the biggest thing that the average player is going to get. Of course, there are ships beyond that, the Javelin and so on. But those, when you're buying ships like that, you're kind of breathing some really rarefied air. And to a certain degree, I can understand the arguments as to why some of these ships aren't in game. Certainly when I was speaking about the Polaris and I was talking about, everything that supports that would be needed to support this ship, to make this ship fully work, is in game already. Everything except for, of course, the one thing, which is player count. Because two fully crewed Polarises, and I do mean fully crewed, not, just the minimum, but the fully crewed ships with everyone aboard would pretty much represent the entirety of a server. And that really is kind of the final frontier of Star Citizen's foundation, is getting the player count up to what it would need to be able to support the ships that we've been talking about. And do I think that CIG can do it? Well, one look beyond the ship that we're flying, and we often forget that, well, we're aware of it, but we're not fully aware of it type thing, is that this is CryEngine, this is Lumberyard, this is going way beyond what this engine was meant or designed to do. It was designed to look gorgeous and to provide gorgeous FPS levels. It wasn't designed to build entire moons, much less entire solar systems. So server meshing is kind of the technology that is supposed to make all of this live and breathe and allow many, many players to enjoy the same living / fighting / exploring space. But server meshing is something that, it's kind of like the fusion technology or generators of the present day. It's always, just over the horizon. The joke in fusion is always that it's been 30 years away for the last 40 years. It's only 30 years away, and I still remember hearing about it when I was a kid. And we're so close, and it's just like, not really. If server meshing doesn't happen, if they can't really get that to work, if we've just gone so far beyond the limit, it is possible that some people might look at these ships and say, well, that was a waste of money because we'll never be able to fully crew these. I would not be surprised if, truth be told, and I mean, I've said this before in other videos, is that I wouldn't be surprised that if they can't get that to work, that Star Citizen ends up, in that respect, in terms of player count, going the route of Elite Dangerous. You log into Elite and you go, oh, solo game with friends, or a game in a random universe where people just kind of filter in with each other, and there's, it's just, the game decides how many it can handle, and the ships end up being, it's possible to multi-crew, but they more or less function as a single player ship. That could very well happen, right? And some of the foundations of that are in Star Citizen. We talk about the idea of NPC crew members crewing turrets, and that is something that already functions in Star Citizen, right? We have that with NPC ships, and really what's preventing players from being able to do that, as CIG has told us, is the fact that we just don't have the UI and the interface to allow us to kind of manage these things. And of course, that is probably something that is going to come later on down the line. But I kind of understand why CIG would kind of deprioritize it, because maybe they feel that it would kind of create the expectation that you can just single player all these ships and they're still trying to go the other way, but they may not be able to go the other way. It's an unknown, right? we can kind of theorize about it, but I don't even think that CIG has the answer as to what they're going to do in that situation. More or less, we'll burn that bridge when we get to it type situation. So it could very well end up that we go that route, right? I hope we don't entirely. I still like the idea of being able to multi-crew ships. I still like the idea of that shared experience. But and let's be honest, when you think about Multicrew versus Elite Dangerous's version of Multicrew, which for all intents and purposes you just really don't see in the game, Star Citizens is much more, I think, relevant. Like, crew members are much more relevant than just getting an extra pip on your energy meters to play around with and potentially have someone handling your turrets or another system. But the truth of it is that it's not all that it can be, and Star Citizen certainly seems to aim for that much better experience, but who knows if they're going to hit it, right? Who knows? I think that, you know, when people start to look at these questions and they start to go like, oh man, you know, this is bad game design, or oh, this is not the vision, this is not the way that it should be. I like to point out something, and obviously Daymar is the place I'd like to choose to point this out, because if you look out the window, right, and you disregard the ship that we're flying, in a way, if you look out that window, what do you see? Well, just this one moon, you know, Daymar, just this one moon in the Stanton system. This one moon that we've had since 2018, right? This could easily be Arrakis in the Dune universe. This could easily be any number of worlds from any number of sci-fi universes. This is what video games, or PC games certainly, are heading towards. This is the future that we are kind of careening towards in video games. And when things change at this level, there's always kind of one or two companies that kind of break that barrier, and then they start reaping the rewards of that, especially when the game is very well done. And then everyone else tries to follow suit. And I think that this is what RPGs and MMORPGs are going to start to look like. These are going to be our strange new worlds of the future, right? And I think it's important to kind of remember that, yes, there's so many things from Star Citizen that are missing. And we can talk about that, you know, and we do talk about that a lot. But it's important to kind of remember the ground that we're standing on is that at this level of fidelity, this just doesn't exist. Elite Dangerous to a degree, and certainly Star Citizen at a far higher level of fidelity, are really the only games doing something like this at this level with this much play area. If you were to reimagine this as a survival game in the Dune universe, you know, reskin all of this, and you're saying, let's say one of your choices is you could be a Fremen warrior, learning your skills, learning your trades, learning to ride sandworms, you know, killing Harkonnens to steal spice, and then trading that to the smugglers to earn better materials to make your still suits with, or your tools or your weapons with. That sort of stuff. Going out on a quest to learn how to make your Chris knife. That sort of stuff. Is that a game that you would be interested in? Hell yes. If it was an MMO style survival game, so many of you would be all over that. I know I would be all over that. And here it is. Here's the entire planet of Arrakis outside that window. It's crazy to think about. when you kind of think about it from that perspective, you go, holy crap, that could be Tatooine out there. Change it to a snow environment, that could be Hoth. This is where games are going to go. This is where your next big Star Wars MMO is. This is what it's going to look like. And CIG has kind of done this. This is something that they could license out. So I do acknowledge all of CIG's struggles, but at the same time, I think one of their shortcomings is they've been so nose to the grindstone on their project that even they haven't really stuck their head up to kind of take count of where they are. In the same way that the players, we've forgotten that too. Where we are in terms of progress. We're standing on things that just don't exist in other games. Everything is always just like a little level. If you think about, recently, because there was a Warhammer 40k skin that was released for the for the E100, so I've been playing a little World of Tanks again. And if you think about, this could be the entirety of, the Eastern Front or, North Africa or something like that, just reskinned and changed and had some water. And imagine the tank battles that you could have on a terrain this large. It's incredibly impressive. There's really no end to the possibilities that all of this terrain and all of this real estate offer you in any sci-fi or fantasy world. But, think of it this way. If you were to show up at E3 or any other convention and you were to just be driving around on this terrain here, and you were showing off this area, and you were to say, this is the playground for our new survival game. It's using Lumberyard, CryEngine, whatever. This is the world that you're going to be exploring with your friends. This is where you're going to make your camps. This is where you're going to learn to ride sandworms or whatever. Fight for the Imperium in the 40k universe. Change things up a little bit. Most people would just be over the moon with just this, with just Daymar. And that's why, in as much as when I watch videos of people saying, 10 years in alpha and all that, I think people also need to acknowledge that what we have in Star Citizen right now is something that could easily be licensed out, that could easily be marketed to other companies. And I've said it in videos before, but any companies that are in that field, that are looking for fidelity and looking for high-end graphics and survival games, certainly, who aren't kind of picking up on what CIG has already done and trying to figure out how to either license it or imitate it themselves, these companies are just going to be left behind. This is what our games are going to look like in 10 years. And as much as we look at what CIG has not yet accomplished and what it has not yet finished in the context of Star Citizen, in the context of a lot of the games that we've already played, CIG has come so far in delivering real and immersive worlds that, while they don't have the product they intend to deliver for their consumers yet, they have a hell of a product they could market to other companies. It's kind of how I think of the Star Citizen universe, and why, I'm not always as angry as people would expect me to be. Anyways, just a few thoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.